This is to tell you about the Learning Disabilities Mortality Review, or LeDeR programme. The LeDeR programme is a big piece of work happening across England. The LeDeR programme is checking to make sure that when someone with learning disabilities dies, it wasn't preventable. That means that they got the right support, care, and treatment, and still their death could not be avoided. This work is happening because we know that in the past people with learning disabilities have died when it could have been prevented. We know this because in 2007, MenCap published a report called Death by Indifference. This told the story of 6 people who had a learning disability who should not have died. Death by indifference was followed by a confidential inquiry to look at why people with learning disabilities sometimes live shorter lives than other people. This inquiry is called the Confidential Inquiry into Premature Deaths of People with Learning Disabilities. A lot of people say SIPOLD for short. The inquiry found that on average people with a learning disability die 13 to 20 years younger than other people. They also found that some deaths could have been prevented if those people had access to the correct healthcare. The main reason that they did not access the correct healthcare was a delay or a problem with finding out what was wrong with them. One example of someone dying when they should not have is Connor Sparrowhawk, also known as Laughing Boy, an 18-year-old man with learning disabilities who drowned while bathing due to a seizure. This was preventable. If the medical professionals looking after him had accessed his medical history or responded to the knowledge that his family shared, he would not have been bathing without support. Already lots of work is happening to make things better following the SIPOLD. The LeDeR programme is part of that work. LeDeR is continuing to look into what has happened when someone with a learning disability dies, to make sure that no mistakes were made. Every area has a steering group set up to do this work. When everything has been done correctly, this does not take very long, but if there is any sign that mistakes were made, then there is a more in-depth review. All of this work aims to make services better for people with learning disabilities. The government, through NHS England, is committed to learning lessons and involving people with learning disabilities, their family and carers. It is difficult work, but we can hear why people get involved.
Today I've attended the steering group for the LeDeR programme. I want to help prevent death of people with learning difficulty what are preventable, and I want to get the message across to for people to actually give them the right support at the right time and when they need it, and not just to take over.
The concerns I always have had as a father and as somebody who works with families is that people with learning disabilities far too often treated as second-class citizens, and the assumptions being made by health professionals is that their life expectancy was going to be much more reduced than that of the population as a whole. And the barriers that we have, I think, is more down to people's attitudes. And what we need at the end of the day is that level playing field, that everybody is treated on the same basis. To me, at the end of the day, what we want to see is that people with learning disabilities, when they go along to the GP, that they are treated in exactly the same way as anybody else.
Today I've been chairing the Greater Manchester steering group for the LeDeR programme, and I've always worked with people who use services and their families and carers to ensure that we're getting people the right possible care at the right possible time. So it's helping us make sure that healthcare is available for everybody at the right time, and that's why this programme is important to me.
Anyone can tell the LeDeR programme that someone with learning disabilities has died. You can report it using our website. You can phone us on our private phone number 0300 777 4774.